Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 16 of our F1 Manager McLaren Road to Glory. Yes, we're back today, ready for the Italian GP. If you missed out on the video that went live last week from Zandvoort, of course, the Dutch Grand Prix, would highly recommend going back and checking out. Quite an interesting weekend. You know, there's definitely a few talking points as we head into the final few races of the season. Of course, once we leave Monza this weekend, the European leg done and dusted will be then on the flyaway season for the final 6 races of the campaign. But very, very importantly, as we jump into this one today, we have got some new regulations proposed ready for Season 2. Of course, currently championship-wise, we're still sat P4 overall with a 16-point lead over Alpine, but both Alpine and Alfa Romeo are looking very, very competitive as we get in towards the end of the year. You know, it wouldn't surprise me if one of those teams gets a big result in the final few races there. Carlos Sainz still leads the Drivers' Championship, just 19 points clear of his teammate Charles Leclerc and 35 points clear of Max Verstappen there. And even Sergio Perez has been stringing along some decent results in recent weeks. I think it's still probably going to take Sergio, though, a bit of a miracle to get there by the end of the year. But let's have a look then. What are these proposed rule changes as we head in towards this weekend? There we can see we've got some other emails coming through as well. To make the sport fairer for competition and more engaging for fans, with these goals in mind, we are proposing new financial regulations for the 2023 F1 season. And in order to encourage excellence on the grid, we suggest a change to prize money amounts that favours better performing teams. So, let's have a look then. So, what are they saying? So, top 4 teams get a bit more prize money. Bottom, well, every other team apart from 10th gets a bit less. I think for us at McLaren, we're kind of in a bit of a weird position with this one because, of course, we might just about finish 4th this year. But if we finish 5th and we lose a lot of money, not going to do us any favours there. So I'm going to vote against those proposed changes there. And of course, we'll get some results next weekend. We might actually get them before the Italian GP. Doesn't look like we will. Of course, we're still on the hunt though to try and place Mitchell Kuma within the team as well. So let's try. I mean, we have got some resource points we can use on him, but I'm not going to use them. Let's see if we can try and finally poach out Diego Tondi from Ferrari. Let's offer him big money. Well, 3 seasons, $7 million for Diego Tondi. I don't think that's normally how much head of aerodynamics cost in Formula 1. I don't know. Perhaps it's something I should look into down the line, when all the YouTube stuff finally gives up the ghost. But is he going to accept that then? We've got very low patience with him. He's happy. He's done it! We've got him! We're going to have to spend $3 million on getting replacing Mitchell, though. But I think, yeah, that is a big opportunity for us there. So Diego Tondi is now working with McLaren then. Things you love to see there. Of course, we've just got to, I mean, like I've said before, we're just trying to poach these team members, of course, from other teams there to hopefully, you know, weaken them and make ourselves a bit better as well, of course. So, yeah, I mean, we'll leave Christopher Hayes and Jason Pryor as the race engineers, at least to the end of the season. But maybe for Season 2, we're going to make some changes in that area as well then. But let's get into it, though. We have got new wind tunnel testing time, actually, as well, before we head into the next set of races. And of course we'll have the new rear wing design as well. So let's just continue on. There we go. Weather center has been upgraded as well. Let's do a couple more upgrades then to the car. I mean, we actually probably now want to be looking at next season's car, don't I? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and do that, and then we'll head into the Italian GP.
Welcome to Life in the Fast Lane. We're here at Monza in Italy, the home of Ferrari. But who will take home the points this weekend? Let's find out as we get started with the Italian Grand Prix. Monza, a centurion among circuits, dripping with motorsport history. Expect to see cars fly by, as 80% of the track is tackled at full throttle. It's not all go, however, and brakes can be prone to overheating through the tight chicanes that Monza has to offer. With the season nearly concluded, time is running out for the teams. Can anyone make a last-minute breakthrough? Can the leading drivers hold on? Only time will tell. What will happen this weekend? Only time will tell.
Right, well, here we are then, ready for the Italian GP. Looks like nice clear skies Friday, Sunday, but there is the opportunity for some changeable conditions in the middle there on Saturday. But, of course, Monza, the Temple of Speed, probably based on... I really don't know whether this car is good or not down the straights at this point. It's had some weekends where it's been mega, other weekends where it's been awful. So we'll kind of see what happens here, and hopefully we can try and get a good weekend initially under our belt. That being said, though, of course, Oscar Piastri has a tendency to crash out in free practice, and Lando Norris has a tendency to get taken out in practice. So, yeah, only time will tell, as always. Right, well, I have sent both of our cars out then on rather aggressive setups, but Lando Norris is literally running the least amount of wing he possibly can. Oscar Piastri is probably going to have to take a fresh engine at some point this weekend. Lando Norris, I think he's still doing... Oh, yeah, Lando Norris, of course, had a fresh engine in not that long ago. So we may as well just shred the last bits that Oscar Piastri's engine has got left to it. And then, of course, bolt in a fresh one ready for qualifying on Saturday. Lando Norris seemingly quite happy with the car early on. Still waiting on some more information from Oscar Piastri. It's 3 wide almost as we head down in towards the Scar chicane there. Oscar Piastri very, very happy with the car as well. So we'll bring both drivers in. However, his engine is... yeah, getting very, very destroyed there. Always start to worry just a little bit when the engines are like that. Of course, we're a long, long way off the pace at the moment, but as I've said, pretty much every free practice session this year doesn't really matter too much. We normally seem to get back to where we should be later on, as both Aston Martins, identical lap time set by them. That is rather impressive. Right, well, both cars back out there then. Both drivers seeming pretty happy, roughly, with where they're at the moment, but certainly, you know, no wings at all for Lando Norris is probably not quite the way to go. He is still running, though, I think about half a degree on the front and I think 9 degrees on the rear, which is the lowest you can run inside F1 Manager, so it's not too bad there as looking at it. Ferrari, on a track they'll always want to do well, I'm sure. Currently fastest and second fastest there with a 4/10 gap to Red Bull behind. Of course, if you remember back, if you did watch the Ferrari career mode I did on this game, we actually won the title of the Constructors' Championship here at Monza, which was quite incredible as our first year as Ferrari boss. That's obviously not going to happen this season. I mean, we scored, what, over 800 points, I think it was, in the end. But we'll be, I'm sure for them again, you know, to get another win here would always be nice. I guess the one thing I just really don't want to see is Oscar Piastri's car grind to a halt at some point during the final 15 minutes of FP1. They're just getting warned about some minor gearbox damage as well, so it might be... apart from the ERS, yeah, it might be that we just obviously put pretty much everything into the back of that car. But yeah, just don't want any power unit failures. Oscar Piastri still desperately needs to get a bit more confident with just everything still going on around him. Haven't 100% decided yet what's going on in terms of lineup for Season 2. But, you know, he did win a race earlier on this year, so I'm not 100% sure we'll give him the full Ricciardo treatment. Oh, no, we've made it worse. That is rather impressive then. Oscar Piastri less happy than what he was with the car beforehand. Will Lando Norris feel any better with his car? I'm sure we'll get confirmation in just a second. But yeah, definitely going to have to bring Oscar back in then and maybe default back to where we were. Yeah, we'll wait and see what Lando Norris is saying. Lando Norris then seemingly still fairly happy with the car he's got underneath him, so we're pretty much going to put Oscar over onto the setup that Lando Norris has been running. Hopefully that's going to give us a helping hand though. We've got 10 minutes left here of FP1, and then we'll jump into qualifying.
Here we are, back for more Formula One action as we prepare for qualifying. There are no more chances to practice this weekend. It gets serious from now on in, as our teams prepare to record their best lap times ahead of tomorrow's race. One good lap isn't enough to guarantee a strong position, with consistency absolutely essential for those looking to succeed. Strap yourselves in. This is Formula One.
Right, well, here we are then, having a look at the free practice times. They're not too far away once all of the final running was done and dusted there. Once again, though, Oscar Piastri quicker than Lando Norris. Albon and Bottas both taking some grid penalties then, as well as Max Verstappen this weekend, so that's going to make things rather interesting. Like I've said, actually, we've got to be careful about the rain here. Like I said, we'll have to wait and see what, sort of when the weather comes in, but hopefully we're just going to be able to, I mean, let's have a look then quickly. There's no rain at all for FP1, so we should hopefully make it through quite easily. He says hopefully. Well, Oscar Piastri then round in the final corner. Just wanted to make sure, of course, in his Q1 run that neither of the cars got held up there. I think we've done pretty well with the positioning as well. As out of the final corner up towards the line, he is going to go into P5, 3/10 away from Pierre Gasly. Of course, we know just how good he's been throughout most of this year. There, Lando Norris fractionally down in Sector 1, but about half-tenth up in Sector 2, so it's going to pretty much be an identical time by Lando Norris. Again, as long as nothing happens here at the final corner up towards the line, Lando Norris, he will also go up into P5 there. 600ths clear of Oscar Piastri, and that should be our cars straight into Q2. And there we go then, official confirmation, nice and easily there into Q2 on the single run. Lando even in P12, Oscar in P13 there. Only, I mean, about a tenth away, from safety, but it is your typical four. It's both Astons, both Williams, and Mick Schumacher then out in Q1. However, the rain is definitely starting to set in here, so we might have to try and go out really early in Q2. No, it's still saying no chance of rain then. Okay, I won't worry about it. However, not gonna lie, not really convinced we might sneak into Q3 there. Lando Norris, it might be one of those sessions that look how much speed he was carrying down in towards turn 1 there. I wish I'd actually had the MFD up then to have seen just how quickly he was going, but yeah, it might be one of those ones where Lando sort of sneaks by, but the likes of the Alpines, they're always very good around the low downforce circuits. Pierre Gasly as well is always just doing bits, already a previous Grand Prix winner around the Temple of Speed as well, so I'm sure he'll be looking to try and go again strong this weekend. But yeah, we'll see what we can do, but I'm not holding my breath about Q3. For the line, Lando Norris into P8 there, quicker than Kevin Magnussen. Is Oscar Piastri going quicker than his teammate? Yeah, they're pretty even there as he heads out of the final corner. Oscar Piastri goes 14 thousandths behind. Still quicker than Magnussen, but not by a lot. And, it's whether we're going to be able to find sort of 2-3 tenths to get up to those Alfa Romeos. Well, this might be the first time I've ever seen this on F1 Manager, but most of the field have opted to not come back out onto the circuit then at the end of Q2, so don't know if they're just trying to save a set of tyres or what, but, the likes of Carlos Sainz, they're way down the order. He could be out in qualifying 2 here for the Italian GP there. Both of our cars are about a tenth away from the Spaniard there. Of course, Ferrari's home GP as Oscar Piastri heads down in towards turn 1. That is very, very slow. 316 kph. Is about 192 miles an hour there, so yeah, really not as quick as I was expecting from Oscar there, as yeah, Lando Norris able to go no quicker in towards that first corner, but look at that, 6 downwards, down to 10th, have all opted to stay in the pit lane then, so if we can improve, it could be Sainz and Ocon going out in Q2 there. George Russell in his Mercedes is also out on the circuit looking to try and improve as well, so we do need to find at least another 10th, but if we could try and bump some of these cars out, that could do massive favours as we head in towards Q3 there. Oscar Piastri not able to improve though in Sector 1. Lando Norris there is improving, however, onto a 29.14, but of course it is just going to come down to tight margins there as we've got one of the Alpines, I think that's got to be Fernando Alonso, just in the way there. Ocon gets ousted out then of Q2. George Russell jumps up into P5 there, and now it is Carlos Sainz, championship leader, and of course Ferrari at the home GP. This is not where you want to be making strategy blunders, as both of our cars able to improve as we round through the final corner here, riding on board with Oscar Piastri. Is he going to be able to go quicker than his teammate and Esteban Ocon there? Could Oscar Piastri be into Q3 here at his first Italian GP? No, he stays in P13 there. Lando Norris, though, out of the final corner. He's gone green in both Sector 1 and Sector 2. Come on, Lando, try and get yourself up. All we need is a tenth of a second up over the line. P11, 14 thousandths away from Carlos Sainz there. So despite the huge gamble, the Spaniard makes it through. That is gutting there, you can see, at the end of qualifying. I really did think we could have brought out the upset of the season, but Lando Norris P11, Oscar Piastri P13 ready for the Italian GP. Like I said, it was always going to be a track that probably the car was going to struggle at. We're going to have to try and bring out some strategy wizardry though here on race day Sunday. Let's get into it though. It's Italian GP time.
Here we are, folks. We're back for another day of scintillating F1 action. It's race day.
McLaren did a decent job during qualifying. This is a solid grid position, and it certainly has the potential to lead to good race results. We saw a reasonable push from Mercedes in qualifying, and they'll have plenty of opportunities here to achieve a great result. We've been having sunny weather here today, but there are some clouds looming that might complicate things for teams further down the line.
Well, one thing we do know, this race is going to be fast, and Monza is ready for it.
Right, well, here we are then, looking trackside already for the Italian GP. In terms of strategy, I wonder whether it's worth trying to... I mean, we can't go aggressive with Oscar, can we, particularly? I'm going to bolt him on medium softs, but Lando Norris, we're going to do soft mediums then. It's a bit of a gamble, of course, for both drivers, but it just means, of course, if Oscar can't quite make the tyres last, then he can go hard to the end. Lando Norris, though, should be okay, and I think, honestly, around here, it might be worth losing a couple of places at the start, just to have the extra fuel to push the car with right the way through to the checkered flag. It's going to be pushed in like crazy pretty much throughout the entirety of the Grand Prix there. Lando, sorry, is starting, though, in 9th place by virtue of those penalties. Let's do this thing, though. Italian GP time.
Quite a few clouds overhead as we look at the lineup on the grid. And there is Lando Norris. With a top 10 position on the grid, this race could really go either way for them. And it's the other McLaren. They're in the back half of the pack, so they'll need to work hard if they want a podium finish. The teams are ready to go. Here we go. It's the Italian Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
Well, there we go. Looks like Charles Leclerc gets away cleanly at the front of the field there. Carlos Sainz sat just behind him, as neither of our cars then appear to have lost a position down in towards turn 1. And you know what? We're already going to get both on the use the fuel as we head down in towards the first corner there. A lot of cars 2x2, but neither of our cars, luckily, in that scary situation. As you can see, Zhou Guanyu starting up in P7 there. Bottas with some penalties. It looks like Magnussen has got past Oscar Piastri, though, through the first couple of turns, so not the ideal start for Oscar, but he is starting on those medium tyres. We all know just how quick the Italian GP will be today. There is Zhou Guanyu under pressure already from the Alpine of Fernando Alonso, so I think it's worth just trying to get Lando Norris on the push mode there. Zhou Guanyu, one of the only cars outside of the big teams at the front there, starting on those medium compound tyres, so he's looking to try and go a bit longer into the afternoon, so I think we've got to try and get past the Alfa Romeo as quickly as possible here as we head down the back straight then on lap 1. ERS management is going to be very, very difficult to try and manage today. Of course, you know, just so many opportunities to use the battery around this venue, but are we going to see Lando Norris then get a good run down in towards the final hairpin there? He's having a look to the outside of Zhou Guanyu. He's trying to pull alongside the Alfa Romeo then, as I think Zhou Guanyu's just about got enough top-end speed there. Remember, we're running pretty much as low wing as we sensibly can, so it just goes to show just how much better and how much more designed that Alpine car is to, sorry, the Alfa Romeo car even, is to be going quickly down the straight. You can see we're just losing time to him as we head back down in towards turn 1. So I think today is going to be quite a defensive afternoon there. It looks like Sainz has got the jump on Sergio Perez there, up into P2. Not what Max Verstappen, of course, will be wanting. Yellow flags out, though. It looks like Magnussen has beached it over the curbs. So that's going to be a freebie then for Oscar Piastri, as Magnussen, yeah, just locked up. That's definitely not turn 11, Crofty. Big lock-up in towards the first corner. They're going to hop over the curbing and just about beach it. Lucky, actually, they was able to get that going again, but Magnussen out of the way for us, I suppose. Oscar Piastri, though, has got Max Verstappen as company behind him now, so I don't really think he's going to be able to do much to defend from the Red Bull. Here we go, Verstappen having a look down around the outside of Oscar Piastri in towards turn 1, as DRS then has been enabled in this Grand Prix there. Surely the Dutchman is probably going to make light work of the McLaren car there, and looks like Oscar's not willing to give up on it just yet. Go on, Oscar Piastri, side by side, as we head through Curva Grande with the Red Bull car there. Of course, Max Verstappen desperately wants to try and get back to the front of the field as early as he can this afternoon, but Oscar Piastri certainly making him work for it as we head down in towards the next chicane there. Again, the Dutchman has to give Oscar room. Would not see that from real Max Verstappen, but he does make it through. Yeah, unfortunately that overtake fails. Let's just try and stick with the Red Bull and get up to Ocon in front there, as Lando Norris has got to make sure he stays within the range of that Alpha. Ferrari battles up at the front of the field, 1-2. here at the Temple of Speed, but it looks like Charles Leclerc will hang on for it for now. Hamilton as well, able to stay quite close with Sergio Perez. I'm sure Lewis Hamilton would love to try and snooker away a victory at some point this year. There is yet Lando Norris then still just keeping Ocon at bay. Of course, Ocon and Verstappen have had previous bad blood between them, but yeah, we're just trying to stay close to Zhou Guanyu, potentially open up something for ourselves later on. As someone else has locked up. I don't know who that was, though. Was it a front runner? Yes, it was Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc's beached it on the inside, so that is an absolute disaster for Charles, battling with his teammate Carlos Sainz then here in Monza in a huge lock-up. Turn those front tyres into 50 pence pieces and decides he's going to sit for a picnic and watch all the other cars go by. So heartbreak for Charles Leclerc there. He's going to re-emerge down in P16. And it's promoted Lando Norris then up into 8th place there. Charles Leclerc going right to the rear of the field as we head down in towards the next couple of turns. But it brings Oscar back up closer to the point. And it gives Lando Norris another... I don't know how we've done such a great overtake there on Charles Leclerc, but we'll take it. But yeah, Oscar Piastri, though, already losing a bit of time to the cars in front. It might be, again, another one of those afternoons where I kind of have to forget about him a little bit. I always feel bad doing it, but Oscar Piastri just seems to find gaps in Grand Prix. I don't know how, I don't know why, but it just seems to be his thing. Well, as we get towards lap 10 then in this Grand Prix, we've got Gasly and Alonso battling just at the front of this little gaggle of cars. They can see George Russell in a bit of no man's land as well today as Hamilton. What's happened to Sainz, Hamilton and Perez? And now batting for the lead then. Hamilton up into the lead temporarily here at Monza. Sergio Perez, though, still with him. And how have Ferrari gone from 1-2 in the Italian GP there to 3rd and 14th place? This is an absolute disaster early on for them. I was actually going to talk about how it just seemed like Max Verstappen had kind of got stuck at the back of this train, but honestly, looking at the way this race is going early on, Max Verstappen could still very easily win this afternoon here in Italy. But Lando Norris, though, keeping the cars behind him at bay. Zhou Guanyu is really doing actually quite a fantastic job. I've got to give him credit on those harder tyres. Looks like we're not shredding the softs, though, as badly as other cars around us. So, yeah, Ocon, though, is really nursing his. Apparently, he has to pay for those down at Alpine if he uses them. Oh, yellow flags out in Sector 1. Someone else has gone. I think it might be a Williams, so I'm not going to worry. Yeah, Lance Stroll there, sorry, in the Aston Martin. Bit of a mistake, so, yeah, really not going to lose much sleep over that one. Sonoda as well, apparently making mistakes there, which has allowed Charles Leclerc now to be the car behind Oscar Piastri once more. I think, yeah, I don't really know what to do with Oscar at the moment. He's just kind of doing his thing, but it just doesn't feel like, especially on those mediums, that he's got enough pace to really match the cars in front. We've got confirmation, lap 12, Oscar Piastri losing the place to Charles Leclerc. There's not really a lot he could do about it, but that being said, he has fought now with Ferraris and Red Bulls so far this afternoon, and yeah, that time around I don't think he really wanted to fight Charles Leclerc all too much. Don't know what Croft is going on about in the background. You just got to love his vibe on F1 Manager, I suppose. But yeah, still Lando Norris stuck in this big gaggle of cars. Zhou Guanyu, though, has moved his way to the front of it, so maybe there is the potential for something exciting to happen. Oh, there we go. As soon as I say that, Lando has made a move work on Fernando Alonso in this GP. What on earth's he done? Back down in towards turn 1. Alonso just breaking down or having a picnic at the first corner there. Lando Norris will absolutely take it. You know what, I reckon we try and push on and get in front of these other two cars there. So you can just see Pierre Gasly still all over the back of Zhou Guanyu. I reckon if we get back round towards turn 1, we've got to go for it. Someone else has spanned. Kevin Magnussen again in the wars, I think, in this GP. Magnussen is having an absolute nightmare here early on in the race. He's got an Aston Martin of Vettel behind him, and no, just goes for a pirouette. Wanted to see Sebastian Vettel in front of him instead there. As yeah, let's wait and see then. Will we be able to try and do anything with Lando Norris back down in towards turn 1? I'm going to give him the overtake mode that will hopefully bring him a bit closer to those cars in front. Verstappen seems to want to spend his afternoon looking at the rear end of the Alpines there. As I mean, tyre wear is not looking great so far this afternoon. How has that used all of Lando's battery pretty much immediately then? That is rather impressive as we head back down in towards turn 1. There, Gasly trying to have a look to the inside of Zhou Guanyu. He's doing a fine effort in that Alfa Romeo. I was about to say, if Alonso does the same move on Lando as he just did the other way around, I was not going to be happy. Yellow flags out, Sector 2, someone else has got issues, can't see anything. What? I don't think he's done it properly there in this scenario. Yes, he has. Sainz has binned it. What on earth is going on for Ferrari at their home Grand Prix there? Looks like Sainz was able to get out of the gravel trap though and keep going, and actually only lost about 4 seconds to Hamilton and Perez that are still duking out for the lead. I'm sure both of these drivers would love to snooker away a victory here with Verstappen down the order and Ferrari just doing Ferrari things, apparently. Piastri's still in the middle of no man's land there, but Lando Sat still in P7. He's keeping close to Pierre and Zhou Guanyu in front of him. As, yeah, Ocon is doing absolute bits there, as now Leclerc has jumped Max Verstappen. That is quite impressive and something that we weren't quite expecting this afternoon. This early on, anyway. So there we go. First few cars into the pit lane. Then George Russell, Gasly, Alonso and Verstappen all peeling in. I really want to try and get Lando a bit further into the race, but I think, yeah, we'll box him at the end of this lap onto those medium tyres to see him through to the checkered flag. I'm a little bit worried, though, about what we're going to do with Oscar. He seems to be taking decent care of him, but it's not brilliant looking at the numbers of the other cars around him. Lando Norris then with Charles Leclerc all over his gearbox around in the final corner. He will be heading into the pit lane then, so hopefully we can get a nice, clean, tidy stop there and maybe get ahead of some of those cars that have been battling. Looks like, yeah, maybe, yeah, Verstappen has been caught up behind the Williams there. Gasly seemed to get away with it. Let's just make sure Lando Norris, nice, clean, tidy stop down at McLaren there. Puts some of the fresh rubber into the concrete, and let's actually look at what Lando's doing rather than the team walking back into the pit lane then. Here comes George Russell back down towards turn 1. Where will Lando Norris, though, come out in comparison to Pierre Gasly? He's actually done very well there, as there goes George. Will Pierre Gasly be able to get back around him? Yes, he will. In towards turn 1 there. So Lando Norris, though, has got a bit more safety from Max Verstappen, who's just trying to barge his way around Alex Albon, of course, former teammate over at Red Bull. And, yeah, now he's got to try and navigate Latifi. Well, I think Max Verstappen, though, is probably going to be able to get a bit closer to Lando Norris then as we head back down in towards turn 1. The Red Bull having a look to the outside of our McLaren car, but again, not really able to do anything, to be honest. I actually want to try and apply some pressure to Pierre just in front. Of course, if we can get a big jump on Zhou Guanyu as well, that would be rather nice, as I think Piastri now has lost the place to Valtteri Bottas. Let's see now if we can try and make a move on Pierre Gasly, probably on the run back down towards turn 1. So Verstappen makes a bit of a mistake. Look at this Lando Norris, though, up the inside of Pierre Gasly down through the final corner. Look at that, he's made it through. Straight up then, into 11th place we go then, and not quite where I was expecting the move to come from. And he's even got the DRS from the AlphaTauri car as well, though, so timed that beautifully. Did Lando Norris as we head back down towards turn 1. Whether we're going to be able to keep him at bay, though, is a very different question there. As you can see, Gasly again trying to look for something. But Lando Norris then up into now, I think, net P6, might be net P5 of the Grand Prix, because we still don't quite know what Zhou Guanyu's doing. I mean, every single time, it looks like Gasly is able to get quite a good run out of the final corner, but it actually seems like Verstappen is the one tripping him up there, as Verstappen just nowhere to go. So he heads back down in towards the first corner. Here goes Pierre Gasly, though, to the inside. He's actually going to get a very, very good run this time round and slot just back in ahead of Lando Norris. But, yeah, this battle is certainly not going to be over right towards the end of this GP. It's not going to be long, though, before we bring Oscar Piastri into the pits. We're probably going to have to try and micromanage that a bit more, as he's still actually battling with Bottas. He's not making it easy for the Flying Finn. Oh, no, there we go. As soon as I look away, Verstappen makes it past both of them then. So Max Verstappen now will be sailing off into the sunset late on in the afternoon. We might be able to use him to defend against Pierre behind. But I wouldn't be surprised if Red Bull just telling, Max Verstappen, just get on with it. I mean, at the front, though, still, we've got pretty much half this race to go. A lot of cars haven't pit yet. So we're doing okay. We're managing things quite nicely. We've got to try and get around Sebastian Vettel, who is not a lap down, but clearly does not want to put up too much of a fight. As what is it with Verstappen today? And not being able to find his way around other cars then, as Lando Norris thought about it in towards Ascari, but decides to sit back for now. It's not doing us any favours, though, as here goes Max again then on Sebastian Vettel. I mean, it looks like Seb honestly is trying to stay out of the way of the Dutchman here as we head down in towards the final corner. Lando Norris as well is going to try. That was scary. That was almost 3 wide down through Parabolica. But luckily he makes it through. Gasly might lose a little bit of time as well in all of the commotion. And are we now potentially going to be able to get a run on Verstappen again back in towards the first corner? He's going to look for it down in towards someone there, but the Dutchman has still got the DRS off the other AlphaTauri, Yuki Tsunoda. It is all going on at the moment here at the Temple of Speed, but Gasly still can't find a way past Seb. There we go, Hamilton and Sainz both into the pit lane then. Don't think it's going to be long, might be one more lap before I decide to call Oscar in. Has done very, very well on those medium tyres in his defence, which builds confidence Well, I know that Lando, of course, has got to go to the end of the Grand Prix. This is the optimal lap to be pitting as well, so we'll bolt them onto a completely fresh set of tyres. And yeah, Oscar Piastri then we'll try and see where he's going to re-emerge. Where is Zhou Guanyu going to be in all of this? As Lando Norris is sticking still with Max Verstappen there. Zhou Guanyu is going to be out way further back, so this has worked out actually quite nicely. Zhou Guanyu trying to go way too long then on those medium tyres. Of course, he will be fast, though, towards the end of the Grand Prix. But Gasly's dropped back behind Lando as well, and Lando Norris is just using the DRS from the Dutchman in front of him just to try and pull away, I suppose, and why not? Charles Leclerc into the pit lane. Same can be said for Oscar Piastri then. I wonder if Bottas is going to be in as well. Yes, he is. So 3 cars into the pit lane then. This is going to promote Lando up into 6th place then this afternoon. So it is just those decent points that Lando Norris seems to be able to pick in, week out then. As you can see, the gap to Gasly behind opening up now to nearly 3 seconds. But are we going to be able to close up to those Alpines towards the end of this race? I'm not convinced we are there, as Oscar's got the jump on Bottas in the pit lane somehow. Let's just try and see what we can do. If we've got a safety car late on in the day, might do us a bit of a favour. But that being said, leader Oscar Piastri, though, is going to be a good 12-15 seconds behind Fernando Alonso. I'm not convinced this car's going to be quick enough to close that sort of gap. Sebastian Vettel apparently running wide then, as here goes Oscar Piastri to the inside, and Mick Schumacher back into 12th place he goes of the afternoon. And I mean, really for us, it does depend on how much those Alpines duke it out towards the end of this race. But I mean, yeah, 12 seconds, 15 laps. I'm really not going to hold my breath, as Gasly now has lost the DRS to Max Verstappen there, as you would expect. But there's a Murkoff. George Russell off down at turn 1. That's going to be a freebie. Lando Norris, P6 here in Italy. This is fantastic at the moment for us there, as of course George Russell might be able to come back at him later on in the day. But if he's still stuck there, this might promote Oscar Piastri up into... Hey? He's just teleported. I was about to say it might promote Oscar Piastri into 11th, but no, apparently it absolutely will not. Laps to go then here this afternoon. George Russell now is trying to fight his way back into the points, but Lando Norris just able to keep the gap open above Pierre Gasly there just behind him. Oscar Piastri still trying to keep Mick Schumacher and Valtteri Bottas at bay late on in the day. Not too worried. Of course, 12th or 14th doesn't really make much difference for us, but yeah, Lando Norris could really do with another P6 there, although Gasly is getting alarmingly close on occasion. Might just go a lap of deploy, just, you know, open up that cushion again. No, what's Oscar done? He's good, he's okay, we're fine, don't worry about it. Someone else apparently is ran wide, but Oscar Piastri is okay. Gasly locks up, and that opens up a 4-second advantage then for Lando Norris. He hopefully now can just sit pretty towards the end of this GP. Kevin Magnussen has been in the wars all afternoon, but Mick Schumacher, his teammate, now trying to have a look to see if he can do something to Oscar Piastri as we head back down in towards the final corner. Not really too sure. I don't think the fuel gamble was probably the right way to go today, but yeah, Oscar Piastri still trying to defend from the Haas and the Alfa Romeo there. Mercedes power versus Ferrari. Apparently, I mean, all we're kind of banking on is if a couple of cars up the road come to blows later on in the day, then maybe we can try and take home a point or two. But Oscar Piastri still doing everything he can. Lando Norris, yeah, once again proving why he's the real deal. Final lap then here from the Temple of Speed, and look at this, we've got a 3-car scrap still for the lead as we head back down towards turn 1 there. Hamilton to the outside of Carlos Sainz there. 3 cars, 3 different teams with 3 different power units, and it is all going to come down to the final 3.6 miles here from Monza. Carlos Sainz, of course, made that mistake early on, had that spin. Ferrari, it was always looking like a really strong circuit for them, but we always wonder just how and when will Ferrari bottle it. But as he heads his way through the final lap, it might just be that he's got enough there from Lewis Hamilton behind. Lando Norris, he sat comfortably in P6. He's done a fantastic job all afternoon there as Pierre Gasly trying to soak up pressure from the team, of course, that he's heading to in real life 2023. Oscar Piastri has still got Mick Schumacher and Bottas behind him, but we're far more interested in this battle for the race victory. Will it be Sainz again further extending his championship lead, or can Hamilton or Perez snooker away a victory? Hamilton to the inside, in through the Ascari chicane there. They're still side by side as Hamilton just able to slot in ahead of the Ferrari car there. We've got a lap car just in the way as well. I think that might be one of the Williams as we head down in towards the final corner. No, it's Lance Stroll, but Hamilton into the final corner. Ferrari are going to be absolutely heartbroken then. It looks like he's just on the final lap of the GP here, going to snooker away the victory from Ferrari then. He will need some security as he leaves the Italian GP this evening, of course, but Hamilton's done it. A race win for him and Mercedes. The streak continues. 15 years of at least winning a single Grand Prix in every season there. Lando Norris, of course, still waiting for his first ever Formula 1 Grand Prix victory, but in through the final couple of corners, it's another race where he displays himself as best of the rest there. Fantastic job done by our young Brit once again. He will come through for 8 very, very valuable points then, and again, it further extends the gap to the cars behind there. Oscar Piastri not far away from the points come the checkered flag there. Out of the final turn, he is able to keep Mick Schumacher and Valtteri Bottas at bay. It's 6th and 12th here at Monza.
Lando Norris can be proud. What a fantastic performance from him. A fantastic result for McLaren there.
Absolutely. I imagine it'll be pats on the back all round, and deservedly so.
And after this result, the team is 4th in the Constructors' standings.
Meet us next at the Marina Bay Circuit for a breathtaking race through the streets of Singapore.
Well, there we are then, the end of the Italian GP, and Lewis Hamilton from 5th on the grid takes the win by just 0.7 of a second there over Carlos Sainz. The Spaniard, I'm sure, gutted not to win in front of Ferrari's home crowd, but he does once again extend the gap over his teammate Charles Leclerc there. Perez rounds out the podium just 1.5 seconds away from the Mercedes there, with Charles Leclerc, Max Verstappen in 4th and 5th place. They're up 3 places for Lando Norris. He's my personal driver of the day. Maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I'm just going to say it anyway. They're ahead of Gasly, Ocon, Alonso, and Zhou Guanyu there. Very, very good race. He was a bit unlucky with the strategy that he wasn't able to get more out of that one and his Alfa Romeo there. But further down the order, no retirements this weekend. Oscar Piastri, unfortunately, yeah, just to lose the place, of course, to Max Verstappen, who was a whole lot quicker. But 26 points then. The gap Sainz has opened up at the top of the table once more. 18 further back, Max Verstappen behind Charles Leclerc there. So it really is looking like Sainz now might be able to do it this season. Hamilton takes some points at Sergio Perez as well. First win, 3rd podium of the year for him, as Pierre Gasly up into 8th place. Then Lando Norris into 9th as they both jump Fernando Alonso there. I mean, could we still be in a battle for best of the rest come the end of the year? I mean, George Russell is not far ahead of Valtteri Bottas as well, but 17 points between Lando and Valtteri there, so it's still all to play for as we head into the final few Grand Prix. I think Oscar Piastri will be happy to stay ahead of Ocon come the end of the year there. Constructors-wise, though, again, just opening up that gap just a little bit more to Alpine behind there. 6 points for them, 6 points for AlphaTauri, just 1 for Alfa Romeo this weekend. Really does give us a helping hand as well. There's Ferrari actually continue once more to build up the gap over Red Bull and Mercedes there. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed as well, and we will be back very, very soon when F1 Manager heads to Singapore. You guys do not want to miss that. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below, and yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.